This conference will
for
now be recorded.
reducing clutter. So just a little information about me. I'm a mental health peer specialist and a peer specialist supervisor. I work at a mental health crisis respite where we offer an alternative to hospitalization with a focus on peer support and recovering wellness. I'm also an advanced level wellness recovery action plan RAP facilitator, and I personally have been using RAP for my own wellness since about 2014. And it's really been a powerful tool for me to help me with my wellness, help me increase my self-awareness on the things that help my wellness and the things that get me off track. So I've been a big believer in RAP. So I'm excited to um, bring RAP to and these presentations to Mental Health America and the presentation to you guys today. So today's presentation is based on a couple of resources. One of them is the RAP for Life workbook. And if there's one RAP product I would really recommend, it would be this workbook because it really breaks down all of the different parts of a wellness recovery action plan. And what I really like is that it gives actual samples of RAP plans. So, and when I say samples, for any kind of life situation. So there are sample plans in there. There's one for RAP for reducing clutter, but there's also sample RAP plans for becoming a non-smoker or for losing weight. So you just get an idea of what an actual RAP plan could look like. The other resource that I'm kind of including a little bit is this book by Dana K. White called Decluttering at the Speed of Life, Winning Your Never-Ending Battle with Stuff. And this book really appealed to me. I liked it because she's a regular person who is still figuring out tools and techniques that help her um, declutter, stay clutter reduced, I'll say. I won't say clutter free. And she's not a professional organizer, but she's just talking from her own experience of what has worked for her. And that really is in keeping with RAP in general, because in RAP, we all recognize that we're the experts of ourselves. And so you don't have to be a professional. You can be, but you can also be a regular person who is using RAP to improve the quality of your life and make your life the way that you want it to be. So that's why I was really kind of drawn to this book. But if you ever and Google organizing or how to organize closets or clutter or anything like that, you will be overwhelmed with a lot of resources. So I just focused um, on these two for today's presentation. So I think you'll find this webinar valuable if you're using a RAP for your guide to daily living and wellness, or if you are supporting someone who is maybe developing and using their own wellness recovery action plan. You might find this webinar valuable if you're just curious about, well, what is RAP? I'm not even quite sure what it is. So this webinar is for you. And then finally, if you're looking for ideas and I've hopefully some useful tools for creating new patterns and a new mindset around reducing clutter, around accumulating, keeping, and letting go of your too much stuff. So in today's presentation, I'll talk about a little bit about what is RAP and what it includes. And then for the majority of it, we'll be looking at like samples, sample wellness toolbox for reducing clutter. Um, We'll talk about daily planning. What are those things that I need to do every day and maybe ever so often that help me reduce clutter and maintain my living space? We'll also talk about identifying stressors. What are those things, people, places, events, emotions that may activate a response that draws me to acquiring more stuff? So, what are those things that create clutter, and what's my action plan for responding to those stressors? And that's the other part of it, identifying the stressors and what's my response to the stressors. And if we have any questions or comments, we will be sure to address those. And then I'll wrap up by telling you a little bit about the next mini wrap webinar we have coming up, and a way that you can um, receive training if you want to know more about wellness recovery action planning, whether developing a wrap or becoming a wrap facilitator. So first we'll start with, what is wrap? Well, it's a prevention and wellness process that anyone can use to either get well, stay well, or make your life the way you want it to be. And you do that through a series of wellness tools and action plans. So all that means is I just make a simple plan of actions that I'm going to take. Some of those actions I'll take daily. Some of those actions I'll take when I'm going through a tough time. And by doing that, I am um, preventing stress from taking over, and I'm also maintaining my wellness. So, in a nutshell, it's my plan of actions that I take that help me recover or regain or redesign what I want my wellness to be. WRAP is designed to decrease and prevent unwanted or troubling feelings or behaviors, increase the personal choices we make about how we live our lives, improve the quality of our lives, and is designed to help us achieve our goals and our dreams. And so I've been using WRAP, like I said, for the past several years. And depending on what stage of life I'm in and what I'm going through, I will use WRAP for any one of those purposes there. And the beauty about WRAP is it's self-designed. So it's what the person making the WRAP, it's what they say. It's what you're figuring out that you want for yourself and for your well-being. So typically a WRAP can include these different parts here: developing a wellness toolbox, daily plan, identifying stressors and a stressors action plan, early warning signs and an action plan, listing when things are breaking down, and an action plan for when things are breaking down. And then the last two sections, crisis planning and post-crisis planning. So I say what WRAP typically includes because it's really up to the individual what part of WRAP you would like to develop. For me, I've gone through all of those different parts of WRAP. I found that by having all of those available and present, they were helpful to me. On everyday use, I may not go through all of these. I may just be working from the wellness toolbox. Oops, I forgot to silence the phone. um, so, but yes, so all of these are parts of what WRAP includes. So your wellness toolbox is just making a list of things that you can do every day that help you stay well and help you get on track. Your daily plan is those things that I do every day, or some things I might do ever so often that help me stay on track. We talked a little bit about what identifying stressors, um, what that covers. Basically, it's identifying those things and events that can get me off track, and what is my response to those. And my action plans are just that. my way of responding to stressors, or my plan to respond to early warning signs. So early warning signs are those signs that are letting me know that um, something is feeling off track. Something isn't quite feeling right to me. Or maybe it's several things that happen that, okay, let me know I need to pay attention to myself. Where stressors might be external, outside of me, my early warning signs might not be obvious to anyone but me. And so once I identify those early warning signs, I have an action plan to address them. The when things are breaking down part of RAP is a critical part where I'm identifying that, you know what, I think things are not improving. I think things are getting worse. Some of these signs may be obvious to me, they may be obvious to other people, but this is still a time where I can take action and I can perhaps prevent things from becoming a crisis. So that's what my action plan is geared towards. The crisis plan of a RAP is different from the other parts of the RAP because my crisis plan, I'm developing that with supporters in mind. How do I want the people supporting me to respond? What are some things that I would like to lay out for them to do that can best support me if I am experiencing a crisis? And finally, the post-crisis plan is just that. It's after the crisis. What are some things I have learned about myself, about my situation that I can now incorporate in my rep? Um, Still the phone. Um, and the post-crisis plan is um, something that you develop after you have been through the crisis and after you, um, right after you're coming through it. So you're really using what you have just experienced as a learning opportunity. And that can really be a real switch on how we see crises. The idea of seeing them as opportunities to maybe make a change in my life or do something different. So these are the different parts that a RAP plan can include, and the person developing it decides how it will look for them. And if you're a person supporting someone making the RAP, um, that is your main role, supporting them in creating whatever they want to for their own wellness and to meet their own goals. So for a mini wrap, um, you may not include all of those other parts that we just went through. Usually a mini wrap is just like a little snapshot wrap that, you know what, I just want to work on this one particular area and I'm just going to focus on making a wellness toolbox, or I'm just going to have something for what I'm going to do every day. So when we're talking about reducing clutter, and what we're going to cover today is what could a wellness toolbox look like for reducing clutter, if that's my goal? What's my daily plan for reducing clutter? And so your daily plan will include what I'm like when my space is clutter free. So it's like taking inventory of myself, what I'm like when I'm doing well, what I'm and or what I want to feel like. Maybe my space has been sort of cluttered for a while and I don't even know what I'm like. So what would I like to feel like? What do I imagine I'll feel like when my space is clutter free? Then what do I need to do every day to reduce clutter or maintain my space? Maybe I've already been working on it and I want to maintain a space that feels good and supportive to me. And then the last part of the daily plan is things I might need to do to reduce clutter and maintain my space. And then we'll talk about what are some triggers or what are some stressors for acquiring stuff and what's my action plan for that. So this is what a mini wrap could include. Last month we did a mini wrap on holiday for the holiday season. So just different parts of the wrap that you can use for just a special or certain circumstance when you don't want to make the whole entire wrap plan. So who can use wrap? Absolutely anyone. Um, and here I've listed just a few examples of different populations that have developed wraps just to address their certain issues. So it ranges from veterans to senior adults. We have family wrap. Youth, adolescents, or teens could make their own wrap plan. People with developmental disabilities, people in the criminal justice system. So anyone can come up with action plans that help them recover what wellness means to them in whatever area of life they want to work on. So anyone can use a wrap. And I can make a wrap for almost anything. So some examples are I might use wrap for mental and emotional well-being. In fact, that's how wrap was first developed. But then it has been adapted to so many other life circumstances and situations. So maybe I can develop wrap for managing my diabetes. Maybe I can develop a wrap plan for staying drug and alcohol free. And I can also use wrap for almost any other issue that um, I want to work on to improve my quality of life. So, becoming a non smoker or losing weight. Maybe I'm returning to work or I'm considering returning to work. Maybe we are a workplace and we as a team want to develop our own workplace wellness recovery action plan. What are the things that help us stay cohesive as a workplace? So those are just a few examples. I might use a wrap plan for anger management. So it can be adapted for almost any circumstance that you can think of. So I think the question is, or the place to start is, what do I want to accomplish with my wrap? And when I was thinking about this topic, reducing clutter, I was really thinking, still kind of thinking about the holiday season and realizing that, okay, my mother will be coming in a few weeks, and my guest room is not even ready. It's not close to being ready. So, could I use a wrap to help me manage that space and really motivate myself to get in there and prepare that space? And I thought, well, I guess I could. And yeah, okay. So that's what sort of got me on this road to thinking about what I wanted to accomplish with a wrap. So what is it that you're hoping for? What is your goal? What are some things that you are thinking about that would make you want to consider making a wrap? So in this particular case, since we're talking about reducing clutter, um, some examples might be, okay, for a person, I want to reduce the clutter on our dining room table. I want to use my garage to actually park my car. Preparing a guest room for visitors. I want to be able to find what I need. So those are specific goals that I have or I might have for developing a wrap for reducing clutter. But what's on the other side of that? I want to reduce the clutter on the dining room table because maybe I want to have friends and family over in my space. I want more free time. I want to feel less stress. Maybe I want to manage overspending because a lot of times when you can't find what you need, you just go purchase more of them, more stuff. So you're spending more money. And I just was thinking of hope. I want my home to be my sanctuary, my haven of peaceful existence. So by looking at what's on the other side of clutter, that sort of is my motivation for wanting to address the issue. It's more than just clearing out the stuff, it's what clearing out the stuff will represent for my life. So these are just some things I was thinking about. So I said hope at the end of that last slide, and actually, hope is one of the key concepts on which RAP is founded. These five key concepts: hope, personal responsibility, education, self advocacy, and support, all of these lay the foundation for developing a RAP. So, in other words, let's start with hope. Everything for me starts with hope. So, believing that recovery is possible for everyone, believing that, you know what, I can have a living space that is comfortable and safe and enjoyable for me. I believe in that. I believe in the possibilities of that. So for me, that's what hope represents: belief in the possibilities of recovery, the possibilities of wellness, or what my life can look like. The next key concept is personal responsibility. And for me, that just means I am able to respond personally to whatever the issue is. That there will be some things that I need to do and that I choose to do that move me forward, and that no one else can do for me. Perhaps they can do with me, but it's up to me to actually get in there and do it. So when it comes to clutter, there are going to be some things that I will have to choose to do, um, to get rid of stuff and maintain that. I don't have to necessarily do it all by myself, but I'll definitely be the one in the driver's seat. The next key concept is education. Let me learn everything I can about my situation so that I can make good choices and good decisions. So whatever that means, it may be formally learning about what's going on with me. What does the clutter represent, or that sort of thing. But it's also just learning about myself, a process, a journey of self discovery. I'll say that. I like that better. It's my journey of self discovery. I'm learning about, you know what, what's important to me and what will enhance my life and the steps I'll take moving forward. So for me, that's what education is. Going hand in hand with all of these other concepts is this concept of self advocacy. The idea that, you know what, I'm speaking up and speaking out on my own behalf. And I have a right to expect certain things for myself. I have a right to define wellness, what that looks like for me, and choose my own path for recovery. So when it comes to, let's say, reducing clutter, I'm choosing what works best for me. It might not look like what someone else might do, but I'm respecting what my own choices and wishes are. So for me, that's what self advocacy is about. And lastly, the fifth key concept behind RAP is support. You do not have to do it by yourself. Um, you might be taking the first steps, you might be in the driver's seat, but you can have a supportive person riding shotgun with you. Recovery is a solo process. It is something that you're doing. You really are walking that journey on your own, but you decide who's in your circle. Who are the people that I can count on to help me with this? And how do I support them also? A lot of times, especially when it comes to mental health, we see people in terms of illness and we look at them as, we're going to help you. You're the helpee. And what RAP does is say, well, I'm respecting that all of us are experts in ourselves, and I can be a supporter for you. the support can be mutual. So it may not be that initially I might be the one needing to receive support, but eventually I see myself in a position where I can support others. And to me, that is everything behind recovery and also with peer support. So these key concepts, as you are thinking about moving through a RAP plan and creating your own plan, these concepts, keep these in mind because each part of a RAP plan really ties into each one of these concepts. And so these are really good to keep in mind, and they apply to any kind of wellness, any kind of recovery. So these key concepts of RAP are what are the foundations behind RAP. One thing I wanted to touch on um, that I think is really important, that's also tied in with RAP and the values and ethics of RAP, is the power of language. As I was looking up different resources for preparing for the presentation, so many words came up that can really be so judgmental and shame based. And you've seen the TV shows, you see the hoarders, and people are, you called a pack rat, or that's just messy. And words have power. Words are loaded. So it matters what we say about our situation, and it matters what we say about ourselves. So I'm not coming, and rap doesn't come from a perspective of uh, diagnostic language. If that's how you self-identify, that's fine. But this isn't about categorizing your clutter, the clutter that you may have, as something as hoarding, as a great big mess or whatever. It's just about recognizing that, you know what, I have a lot of stuff and I want to reduce the amount of stuff that I have. And so that's the only perspective that I'm looking at this from. But however you self-identify, that's how you'll move forward. So I think when I was coming up with this webinar, instead of saying a wrap to eliminate clutter, I thought, well, everybody gets stuff in. I'm looking at it like, how do I just reduce the amount, right? So if I say, well, everyone has a little bit of stuff, I have clutter, or does clutter have me? Is it so much so that it has taken over my space and maybe impacted my lifestyle and causing me a lot of stress? So, according to the Institute for Challenging Disorganization, and there really is an Institute for Challenging Disorganization, they define clutter as an overabundance of possessions. So, when you're thinking of your stuff, whether it's your office space or your garage or the kitchen table where everyone comes and dumps everything as soon as they come in the house, to what extent does clutter or that overabundance of possessions impact your current life and impact your well being? And when I look at it from that point of view, it's less about the stuff and more about how it impacts me. How does it impact my current life and well being? And I think that's important also, the current life, um, because a lot of times our clutter is associated with past me, the me that was going to take up knitting, and I still got all the knitting stuff and never gotten rid of it and haven't knitted anything. um, or maybe it's future me. I'm hoping one day to, I might need all of those textbooks one day if I decide to, whatever. Well, these days you can find almost anything everywhere, so you don't really have to hold on to this stuff. So my past me and future me, the decisions I'm making around possessions are impacting my current life. So when I look at it from that point of view, how is it impacting who I want to be and the kind of life I want to lead right now? What defines chronic disorganization? Um, has it persisted over a long period of time? Does it frequently undermine your quality of life? And does it recur despite your repeated self-help attempts? So I just included that definition in here. I don't know that if it applies, it applies. They actually have an assessment on their site where you can go on there and actually answer a few questions to find out how it's impacting your quality of life. And for me, when I did it, not all of it applied, but some of it kind of rang true, and I realized, wow, it really does impact my quality of life. So that again was something else that um, was both shaming and motivating. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that. But I'm going to move forward with the idea that, you know what, this self-awareness, I'm going to do something with this self-awareness, which is what really led me to wanting to use rap. So chronic disorganization may be present with brain-based challenges, and this is still from the Institute for Chronic, or from the disorganization website. And they list a few challenges there: ADHD, anxiety, depression, hoarding disorder, PTSD, traumatic brain injuries. So, in other words, something may be going on that is impacting why a person has a lot of have a lot of belongings, have a lot of clutter. But also it's related to some challenges and circumstances, that what's going on that impacts our ability to let go. Maybe we're in a period of transition where we're relocating or changing jobs, kids are moving out, um, a new baby coming, or maybe we're downsizing living space. Something else that impacts us is our experience of grief and loss. So it's difficult to make that, what do I do with my loved one's stuff, right? What do I do with their belongings? Or maybe I have experienced loss, and holding on to my belongings is something that I'm doing that helps me move through that loss. And then actually, sometimes we just don't have enough time. Um, Life is happening. And so the time we need to dedicate to reducing and managing clutter just gets away from us. And so all of these things can impact um, the amount of things we have and our abilities to let go of those things. So that's what we want to focus on today is, can I come up with a plan that can help me at least begin to look at this, um, to look at my possessions, my over possessions, look at them differently, and maybe formulate a plan to begin moving forward. I keep saying moving forward, but that's really what it is: moving past wherever I am right now to where I want to be. These 8 dimensions of wellness, and this is from SAMHSA, that says wellness incorporates all of these different areas. So I'm not sure if you can see them all clearly. I wrote them out here again. Um, these dimensions, from physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, right on through, actually environmental is another dimension of wellness. And it's saying good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that support well-being. So when I hold that up as the model of what uh, a healthy environment looks like, how is my environment measuring up? is it supporting my well-being? And I think again that goes back to more than just the clutter itself, it's what's on the other side of that, the kind of life I want to live that supports my well-being. So the significance of environment is great. Um, it's something that I also see here at the respite. We work with a lot of people who are living without safe and stable housing, and to watch them try to navigate that life circumstance, bringing all of their belongings, everything they own in bags, and trying to keep up with important papers and keep up with IDs and keep up with their stuff. It's a lot to watch. And but a lot of us are doing that with houses. We can't keep up with our belongings. We can't keep up with our important papers. Our environments are not supporting our well-being either. So I think it's important to pay attention to all of the dimensions of wellness. And again, like I say, we're focusing on environmental, but it impacts all these other areas. How I feel about myself, how I move in that space. Do I um, can I entertain and have friends and family, and can I have them over in my space? Am I overspending to replace items that I can't find? So I was looking for a picture of tiny houses, and I found this one, and I just love tiny houses. I love the idea of them. I just think that's neat, but I don't know how on earth I would ever. I would need to like string like five of these together to make a house, because it's like, how do you go from whatever your current space is to, less than 1,000 feet or whatever? But I just love them. But every time I'm watching the shows, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how would I do that when my current space feels like this? Uh, I don't know if I have quite that much paper, but you see how it's surrounding her and she's still trying to function in that space. And a lot of us, that's kind of that's how my office space feels sometimes, and that's how my home office feels. So yeah. So I'm not sure if I can reach these goals, but I like the idea of everything having a home. And in that book that I have sort of loosely based the presentation on, Decluttering at the Speed of Life, really her approach is about, when you are decluttering, you take whatever doesn't belong in that space and you are going to go put it in its home. And if you do not have a home for that place, now you don't make a home for it. It needs to leave your space. So yeah, these are definitely goals. So here I've made what could be a sample wellness toolbox for reducing clutter. Remember, our wellness toolbox is just a listing of different actions that we can take that help us um, achieve wellness, maintain wellness, or help us reach our goals and stay on track. So for me, my favorite music, an audiobook, or linking into my streaming service, that would be any one of those things might be something I'm doing when if I were going to go begin to work on my garage, for example, I'd make sure to have these things with me. Having trash bags is a wellness tool, because that's what I'm going to actually use to help me clear out a space. Or maybe I have a box or a bag dedicated to collecting items that I'm going to donate. Having phone numbers where I can easily uh, access them, to local charities where I can donate my belongings, or I know where they are in my neighborhood, or if I have one charity in particular that I really want to donate to, I'll find out what they need, and maybe my stuff, can be, I can take my stuff there. So having those phone numbers accessible. What places can I go to? There are some charities, places that will come to you and pick up donations. Some of them do small items like clothing and bedding and, small things, household items. And there are some that do larger ones like bed frames and all that. So it's just calling and checking that out. Um, Another wellness tool is going to the library. Instead of purchasing every magazine, maybe I can just dedicate, an afternoon and sitting there in the library and reading everything, and I saved some money and I didn't bring all of that home with me. I have done that in Barnes and Nobles. I'm sure they probably don't like that, but it's fun just going in there, um, perusing through their magazines or the latest books that are out there. Find a little quiet nook or find a table at the Starbucks there. And yeah, that's another happy place for me. Another wellness tool might be having an accountability partner, someone I'm sharing what's going on with me, and we can sort of check in with each other, and I can let them know what's going on with me and how my progress is going, and they can be my support and sounding board. Having a list of positive affirmations or positive statements. The work of reducing clutter can be it can be a lot, and it can bring up um, a lot of different emotions, a lot of self judgment, a lot of blame, a lot of shame around it. And if you're a partner of someone who has a lot of stuff, you know, you've heard from your partner how they feel about all of your stuff. So having something to counter that negative self-talk for me is a wellness tool. Some other examples might be wellness tools also include things I do and things I choose not to do. So avoiding is a wellness tool. If I'm not doing so well to be in a mall, I'm going to be too tempted, then avoiding malls and thrift stores and garage sales is a wellness tool. Catalogs, receiving catalogs in, um, definitely a wellness tool. Having an actual shredder is a wellness tool. Hanging out with friends, going for a walk, also examples of wellness tools. And this one I just sort of tacked on there. For me, factoring in procrastination. Um, this other book I was reading talked about procrastination as a mechanism for coping with the anxiety that's associated with starting or completing a task. So if I look at procrastination from that point of view, it's not a character flaw necessarily. It's something that I'm doing because I'm avoiding doing something that I think will be unpleasant. Let me just factor in that, you know what, I'm apt to procrastinate here. And maybe I'll do something, maybe I'll watch one Netflix show and then I'll start my decluttering. So I factor that in rather than judging myself for procrastinating. So after I've done my wellness toolbox, now I'm making my daily plan for reducing clutter. And I start with what I'm like when my space is clear and uncluttered. So these are just some of the things that someone might have on their daily plan. Um, you start with what I'm like, or what would I like to feel like. Have more money in my account. Enjoy friends coming over for a visit. Not being stressed about getting new floors installed. Maybe our family can eat together around the dining room table. Both cars can fit inside the garage. I can find things easily. So You start with
Stephanie, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Stephanie, we can't hear you. Stephanie?
okay. Okay, I guess I'm still on. Um, so things I might consider doing to reduce clutter. Um, these are things that as I was saying, the daily plan is the things I must do every day. And then here are things that I might consider or have to necessarily do these things every single day. So I might go to a self help support group for people living with clutter. I might choose to unsubscribe from magazines or get off
Stephanie, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
We haven't been able to hear you, Stephanie.
Oh, goodness. Okay. All righty.
How about now, everyone? Can you hear Stephanie? Oh, they're all on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all on mute, but I think I can hear you now.
Okay, because something kept happening. It kept going to mute, and then I'd click on the audio, and then so I wasn't sure what was happening. Um,
I'm going to give it
so,
back to you.
so what I can say is this. Um, that whether you decide to develop a mini wrap plan and you're developing your wellness toolbox, a daily plan, and identifying stressors, you could also use wrap to use for your entire plan for reducing clutter. Um, Using it to identify early warning signs. Maybe my space is not livable right now. Maybe a crisis is defined when you are facing eviction or you have to move suddenly. So it's really up to the individual if you want to develop a full wrap plan or whether a mini wrap plan just to get started is what's going to work best for you. So um, in closing, I just wanted to say, just leave you with a couple of thoughts. Um, Practicing self-compassion and kindness over self-criticism. So wherever you are on your journey in terms of beginning this process of beginning to reduce your clutter, practicing that kindness and compassion over self-criticism will be more helpful to you than anything. When you're looking at your stuff, consider perhaps holding on is really holding you back. So as I'm looking at my stuff, is it more important to hold on to it and the price that I'm paying to hold on to it? Um, is that holding me back? Think about what's on the other side of letting go. And remember, you only have to let go of something once. And once you've done that, it's gone. And how do you start? Where do you start? When do you start? Start somewhere and start today. Um, think of it in terms of snowballing. I don't have to tackle the whole garage. I'm just going to start in phases. I'm just going to start with this one thing where I'll work in this one area, and that's it. Um, because I was I guess we lost my audio. I'm not sure if there's particular part that anyone has questions about, or if you'd like me to elaborate on something. Um, Hopefully the slides were helpful.
Slides were great, Stephanie. And we just lost you there probably the last 5 to 7 minutes. Um,
Okay.
so I am going to, for those of you who are on, I am going to also be, this is recorded and we will put it on our YouTube site. So all of our videos will be posted there. And then we have another one coming up in December, right?
Yes, we've got one December 17th, and that one will be talking about recovery from addiction. And so that's Tuesday, December 17th from 12 to 1.
can
And
register.
also,
Go ahead.
oh, no, I was just going to give more information about the upcoming, if there's interest in the upcoming, in the new year, if anyone is interested in learning more about RAP and facilitating RAP. So seminar 1 of RAP is about developing your own RAP, and it's a 2-day workshop where you can learn to develop your own RAP, or learn to work with others one-on-one to create their own RAPs. And you discover and explore ways to improve your own personal wellness and achieve an improved quality of life. So that is seminar 1, and that's a 2-day workshop. And then also seminar 2 is actual RAP facilitator training. So this is typically a 5-day workshop where it's co-facilitated by 2 advanced level RAP facilitators, and it's for anyone interested in facilitating RAP groups. And you've already completed the seminar 1 of RAP. So both of these, we're really interested and excited to bring that to this area, and hopefully we can get a lot of interest in people wanting to participate in those trainings. They're offered by Mental Health America of Greater Houston at a reduced price or on full scholarship. And if you would like more information, please contact Kara Hill. And there's her information, khill@mhahouston.org. And I think, Kara, I may have cut you off when you were talking about how to register for I'm going to go back,
So,
for the mini wrap.
yeah, and we can't see your screen right now.
Okay, this is just great.
That's okay.
Everything that can happen. Okay, not sure what's going on. But yes, so the screen I have up now was just going back over the mini wrap for recovery from addiction. And so I think earlier you were just mentioning how to register for that, or
Yes. So all of you, I believe, have registered through Evite. So if you want to go to that, back to the Evite where you can register for the mini wrap in December. Thank you all for joining us. I will be sending out a follow-up survey and a link to our YouTube channel so that you can go on there and look at the first mini wrap we did, which was mini wrap for the holidays, and then soon I'll be uploading this one as well. So thank you, everyone.
thank you all for joining me.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Bye.